What is your favorite anime?
Mine's Skrillex.
Skrillex.
I'm so distanced from human sensibilities and stuff.
Was getting caught part of your plan?
Put your tray tables up and your seat in the full upright position, because this is the Flight Plan, the official podcast, the big guy for you Scanlations, Japan's #1 Bane posting manga Scanlation podcast. Join the flight crew, Tom and Aiden, as we bounce about all the anime, the manga, and the Scanlation content. What are we talking about today, Tom?
Well, I mean, this is kind of a topic you picked. It's not like I want to talk about it. Baka. It's we're talking about the different dere types, like tsundere, yandere, kudere, and all of the above.
Well, you sounded a little bit tsundere there yourself.
I am. Well, you caught on. You're very clever. I got to give you a lot of credit. Not many people would have caught on to that.
Yeah, I'm sharp. That's why I'm the captain.
Well, that's why you have this sticker that says like #1 captain, but I mean, really, you're just like the flight engineer.
You know those like fake toy driving wheels that they put for...
Yeah. Like Maggie in The Simpsons opening.
Yeah,
like...
exactly. It's like, here, Aiden, we'll let you fly the plane today. Oh boy, beep beep, squeak squeak.
Accidentally throwing like the speak and spell, or no, what's the one with the animals where it's like the
moo.
Cow says moo?
Yeah, that's a speak and spell.
Oh, okay.
The cow says, the plane goes whoosh.
Yeah. Well, dang. This is so much great content. It's a shame that we're going to have to transition over to the top of the show stuff.
What's not as fake as my steering wheel is my intercom, and everybody's buzzing the intercom. All the passengers, Tom. That's a great metaphor that I'm using. So
you're the flight attendant now. You've gotten demoted.
No, I'm buzzing it. It's like, hey, this is your captain speaking. Does anybody? It's a two-way PA, so let's...
Yeah, okay.
Well, it was a private plane in the movie, and that's what we're flying now. So they're just kind of yelling through the cabin up to us at the cockpit.
Okay, I'll buy it.
So last week, we had an awesome episode. It was Little Witch Academia x Harry Potter anime.
Yep, it's actually, which is the name of my fan fiction as well, but that's a different story.
That's great. There's a little bit of a story with the intro to that. I wanted to use the Little Witch OP and the opening for you people. The opening got flagged immediately because I used the video for it, and I spent about an hour and a half just trying to figure out which seconds it was. It only gives you a vague thing. It's like the first 13 seconds were blocked, and that was the most important because it did the name, and it was a beautiful opening with stars blooming and everything like that. But that got flagged. It took me about an hour to figure out, and in the end I just had to take clips from an AMV and put it over the place and block things out. It was a lot of work, and basically one of the comments that I left was like, you would not believe how long I just spent trying to get the OP not to flag as copyright. It was like 4 hours. I hope it was worth it.
Well, it was to me because I didn't watch it, but I will now. Now that I know what troubles you've gone through.
To which we had our son reply, "It was. Love you, Dad."
All right, I still don't approve of this.
I replied to him, "Thanks. Your mother and I think it's important to give you quality, wholesome content."
Interesting. Well, you said our son. That's not. And then you said mother. You're not implying I'm a mother. I hope.
No, you're like you're taking care of your wife's son at some point. I don't know what's going on.
Who would also be my son?
We need
a family tree.
We need to do a whole podcast with the BG for You family tree and extended universe.
Sponsored by Ancestry.com and 23andMe.
We also had Devin Jackson come in and say, well, dang, he used a word that's inappropriate, so I'm going to say. He said, I missed 3 podcasts now. Now I can binge them. And it's like a full-length movie is what I said. So we're glad to have you commenting again, Devin.
Nice.
Yeah, first-class passenger. You've been upgraded. If we didn't already upgrade you before, I feel like, half the people, you're all upgraded. Everybody gets a car. Everybody gets a first-class seat now.
Everyone's first class in my heart.
Yeah, everyone listening to this episode.
Except for the dad poster, he's kind of weird.
No, that's Shale Shalele. Kiran Amuthan say, over a goddamn hour, you madman. And to which I said, I do it to see all the passengers' shining faces as we crash this podcast with no survivors.
Nice.
Oh, we had a famous channel over here, PUBG Mobile. This is the official channel of the PUBG Mobile app. I don't know if that's true. I didn't click on the thing, but I can almost...
I would doubt it highly.
Especially depending on what he said. We were just talking about this anime. He said, that school uniform is too sexy, ! And we're talking about that was on the Akashic Records clip, best school uniforms in anime. And I said, I know, and it gets me all hot and bothered. And we talk about the anime more in the latest ep, and I linked it. Look at that marketing. Like, he brought something up, and I was like, here is something else that you will love.
Well, I guess that PUBG wanted to crash his party bus with no survivors.
That's Fortnite, but yeah.
Yeah, I know. And it's not called party bus, right? It's something else.
Battle bus.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are we dropping?
At the Tilted Towers.
Not
John Wick needs our help.
Hold on, but what was it? But not Loot Lake.
We're gonna have to edit that in now so people know what you're talking about.
No, don't bother. Nobody needs to know.
I love it. I might have to go listen to it again.
Take me to your Xbox to play Fortnite today. You can take me to Moisty Mire, but not Loot Lake. I really love to chug jug with you. We can be pro Fortnite gamers.
Take me to your Xbox
to play Fortnite game.
Oh no.
Now, we do get so many comments every week. I mean, we have like 41,000 subscribers and everything like that. So we only can take the best of the best comments. But we have one from Jacob Locklear who says, LOL.
Great. Yep. Truly the best of the best.
Excellent. Yep. To which I replied, Keck. So that's absolutely fantastic. Those are the top comments for last week.
It's like a cultural exchange between the Horde and the Alliance. Truly, anime is the #1 unifier. To transition to my top of the show garbage, I will go through the conduit of talking about passengers. I think it was last week that I said I would give a shout out in the latest Antarctica Girls chapter to the dude who said he was waiting for the next chapter. It's kind of a convoluted thought, but if you're smart, you'll follow what I was saying. I did not include a shout out to him, so here's the shout out for him now.
How could you not
work it in properly? I tried it where I just said like shout out to his name is Amborganization, I believe. I typed that up and it looked weird. Mm-hmm. So and I figured it's like yeah, I don't know, giving someone a shout out without their consent is kind of weird. So this is it.
I don't think it is. I read all the comments without their consent.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
People seem to love it.
It's implicit consent at this point. But yeah, whatever. Here's the shout out here. You got it, buddy.
Speaking of shout outs, if anybody wants a shout out of their own type of stuff, you can leave us a comment on the YouTube. That's YouTube, big guy for you.
Yep. Leave us a $5 donation and then
super chat.
Yeah.
We got to do more premieres, and then we can get all those sweet super chat monies.
Yep. Well, I have 2 remaining items here in my top of the show stuff here.
Well, I've got 2 remaining ears for you.
Nice, and I will make you regret that. Number 1 is ANUSTART. That's what we were trying to remember last episode. A new start, if you will. Anus tart. We were talking about that Arrested Development joke, and that's what it was.
Excellent.
Yep. And then the next one is completely unrelated, but I had to rant to someone, and it's often the case I have no one to rant to except for you guys. So I was watching a video by fellow anime YouTuber, if you can even call us that, Digibro. he did a retrospective on the Tales of Phantasia video game. And I have two beefs with this, one of which isn't necessarily his fault. The word retrospective, it's just a review. Call it a review. I see people all the time on YouTube like saying like such and such game retrospective. It's a review. Like, come on.
I think it means that it's been enough time that it's like you're looking back.
Now that the dust has settled.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's like you're looking back from a decent amount of time.
I guess, but I have seen people do retrospectives on games where they're like, I just played it the first time for this retrospective. No, you can't do that.
That's incorrect, but something like Tales, where it's like super old, it goes back decades. I think that's believable. I think it's fair to say. But like, let's say you were to do something like Call of Duty Blops 5 that just came out.
Yeah.
You know, that would be too much.
Yeah, okay.
I'll let him slide.
I mean, I do prefer the word because it does sound cooler. But we all know what you're doing.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
It's like, we all like it, but we all know what you're doing. And so, called out. Every single retrospective YouTuber, you're called out right now. And then the real reason that I wrote this down, the real complaint I have, is he was saying something like, there's a metric ton of stuff you can do in this game. No. You can't abuse language like that. People do this all the time. They say metric ton. The phrase metric ton came about to differentiate it from ton as in a lot and then ton as in the literal metric ton. Do you follow the complaint here?
Yeah, I guess.
That's like people using literally to mean figuratively. It's like you're using metric ton to mean the exact thing that the phrase was invented to not mean. I don't know. And everyone does it. It's not just an attack on Digibro. It's just because that's where I saw it recently. And that has nothing to do with this podcast, but I just wanted to rant since this is theoretically a language-based podcast because we use language. And
yeah, see, there you go. We're on topic.
Yeah. If it's English or Japanese, it's on topic. But yeah, that's all my top of the show stuff, and now we can actually get onto the meat and potatoes, if you will.
All right, so the moment everybody's been waiting for, everybody's favorite character trope, tsundere. I used to pronounce it tsundere, or I never knew how to pronounce it. I only learned recently. It's something that you mostly only read, at least me. I had never read it out loud. I don't think I have even said it out loud until maybe a couple years ago, and I've been reading manga since 2007, 8, something like that.
Well, I mean, you wouldn't notice because you don't pay attention, I assume, whenever you do watch anime, but they do use it on occasion. So, I mean, you would theoretically have been exposed to hearing it.
True. But then again, I'm also the type of person that I can't remember anybody's names. I just know them by like the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I can't remember any anime characters' names unless they like English ties it or it's like really weird like Naruto, something like that. But
like Chad from Bleach.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so what is a tsundere? A tsundere is a character who like swings back and forth between being love struck, which is dere, and really angry and mean, and which is soon. Is that right?
I want to say it's like prickly or something is kind of what it means. And then dere is probably like sweet or something. I don't know the exact etymology of either word, but I think that's roughly what they are. Yeah, everyone knows what a tsundere is. Like, everyone. Like, come on, that's the classic.
I mean, well, we do broadcast this on Japanese national TV, and it's maybe somebody's flipping the channel and they didn't know. So I just wanted to explain it.
Well, I think of all the people, the Japanese would know it best. I mean, if you want to define it, it goes back to one of my favorite flavor text messages, I guess, from Undertale, where you press A on a cactus and it says, the cactus, the most tsundere of plants. And that's kind of what it is.
Hey, that's also a double pun because tsun is like prickly. So
I think it means prickly. I could just think that only because of the cactus joke.
I mean, I could see it that way. Hey, you're supposed to be the translator.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, I don't know every word. I'm not a good translator. That's why I do manga for free.
over the years, this character archetype has become flanderized, and it's now generally associated with a character who's bipolar at this point. It's not tsundere anymore. It's like just basically insane at this point. They I feel like they flip out at the smallest thing and they become way over hyperbolized. It's usually just angry at a specific person rather than general sociability and things like that. I even saw it broken down online where they had two different categories. They had classic tsundere and modern tsundere, which is just the flanderized, like hyperbolized version of the modern tsundere.
Can you give me one example of either one?
Okay, so old school tsundere might be Sakura from Naruto. Is old school enough where she's in the middle.
Or what about Misty?
Misty's a great one too. Yeah, especially. I mean, she's barely romantic and she's barely angry. She's just a little feisty at first, but then, becomes friends. And that's like classic where everything's mild. It only took a little bit to go either way. Whereas modern tsundere is the girl from Nichijou that fires rockets at her crush because she's embarrassed to admit that she likes him.
Okay, yeah, but I feel like that one is played up just for like the joke.
Well, yeah, it's taken to the reducto absurdum level.
Right.
Haruhi is a good example of a classic tsundere as well.
Does she kind of warm up at the end? I don't really recall.
Yeah, in fact, I haven't seen Endless 8 or any of the recent ones, but at least in the light novels that I read, they do kiss, don't they? In one of the episodes in the first season, I'm pretty sure.
Don't know.
I think they kiss.
I watched it a decade ago.
It is found out that she does like Kyon.
Right.
So it is kind of like that. This is interesting. I feel like older school anime didn't go as far. It wasn't as I keep going back to this word hyperbolized, where it didn't. You didn't have to go to the extremes to make a character to get you used to things. Now we're like so desensitized that you have to be full on like crazy.
That's what it is in like with everything in life nowadays. It's like,
I feel like that
desensitized really is the word, to where you need more and more stimulus to get like just a fraction of the old feelings.
As we're talking about that, I really think that's part of the case now, and you can see different character types. The fiery redhead is one, and they may or may not always be a tsundere, but it has the bold, outspoken personality and things like that. There's a lot of overlap, and a lot of tsunderes have the red hair.
I picture them mostly like blonde.
Ooh, see, I don't get that at all. I always picture like red hair and twin tails, like for the most part. I feel like that's because growing up, all the tsunderes had red hair. That's just how it was when you were, growing up in the 90s.
I guess so. Yeah, that's true. Even the examples that we gave, except for Haruhi, those were all red hair or pink. Yeah, okay, fair enough. Yeah. Give me your evaluation of the trope, because I'm not a fan of it. And I think I'm definitely not a fan of the newer ones, given that dichotomy as you explained it. But I don't think I like the older ones either.
It kind of acts as a source of, like what all anime does, wish fulfillment. It's the idea that every independent, hardened, and like jerkish love interest has a squishy emotional center that, once you get past that, you can eat the nougat on the inside. There's some metaphors in there somewhere.
Sure. Yeah. I know what you're getting at, but it's like, maybe it's like something to conquer if you look at it in those terms. But I figure, why bother? It's like, it's like that old quote that like, thoughts, if you'll pardon the terminology, will post on Facebook where it's like, if you can't handle me at my worst, you don't deserve me at my best.
I can see that too, but I think it also, in elementary school and things like that, maybe you pick on somebody that you have a crush on because you don't understand because you're emotionally not developed yet. And I feel like most anime fans, ourselves included, are emotionally stunted.
Yep.
So it kind of goes back to a baseline thing of like, you don't have to be. We also talked about this with confident monster girl, magical girls in the last episode, where if she's aggressive, you don't have to be.
Yeah, but I don't want to encourage that, like I said last time.
Well, it's not something to encourage, but it's something that is fun to indulge in moments, because you can just sit back and let her carry on the relationship. And it's like,
I feel though that that's more, actually half of these deres that we have kind of like, we have a chart, full disclosure here, there's some inside baseball of like 10 different ones. Half of them are kind of like that, where she's like really like the overpowering one. Yeah.
And I mean, it's also very common, just because I guess animes do this as well, but they to be very powerful. Like if they're not the most powerful person, then they're the most powerful girl in the cast or something like that. Yeah. I feel like and I feel like more often than not, the tsundere is main girl.
I think that's true. Yeah.
I think it's also just easier to write, like, because you'll know exactly what the character development will be. You don't have to come up with like brand new romance developments. You can do the standard trope of things.
Yeah.
And it's a full character arc, because it's like confrontation at first, and then you fall into a bunch of the embarrassing situations, like she drops her towel or something like that. And then eventually, I mean, the end, the hero's journey arc is like, you know, she comes through and has a dere side, but also sometimes they go back and forth, like they'll switch in between things. But I also enjoy the ones where it's the full arc. She never goes back to Tsun. She just maybe starts out.
Whoa. And then she's like permanent dere mode?
Yeah. Or just barely comes back in.
Can you think of any examples of that?
Yeah. So Nagatoro is very similar to this.
No, you just sent me a couple pictures today from, I assume, the last chapter, and that's not very dere.
You didn't let me finish. So, and okay. You didn't have the context of it. So basically Nagatoro is full on like crushing hard on the MC.
Does he know?
No. I mean, he probably likes her a bit too, but he's of the mindset where she's so popular, he doesn't even like consider going out with her, because he thinks she's just making fun of him or things like that. And that's how it does start. It's like a bully tsundere, but Nagatoro like is completely enamored with him, and she's been so nice to him in the past like 8 chapters. She's barely even teased him more than like just really light flirting. And in fact, even the MC teased her back one episode, which was great. This last episode, or this last chapter, Nagatoro teases him to get him to, he loses a race at school, and he's like, oh, I've never been good at running. And she kind of teases him into start practicing and to like believe in himself. Like she's making fun of him so that he pushes himself and becomes a better person. So even her teasing now, her tsundere is based full in dere. And I don't know if he picks it up, but he does feel the warmth in that sense. That's crazy about Nagatoro too. I love the manga. They're really developing into it doesn't reset every week. There's not a misunderstanding that knocks it all back. It's just absolutely, it's great. That's what I love about it too. I hate when the tsunderes just reset to 0, especially over a misunderstanding.
Yeah, I mean, that's just classic rom-com bad writing, though.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think it's mostly like rom-coms that you find any of these deres. It's like rom-coms or harems or anything with like a lot of like cast members, in particular girls.
I think that's probably true. I mean, just because the story wouldn't focus on that relationship if it wasn't otherwise. I mean, I feel like
well, I was gonna say, I think it's also because it's easier to like pigeonhole. If you have a big cast, you just say, oh, this one's the tsundere, this one's the yandere, like this one's the stupid one, like
the ponketsu.
It's lazy, ponkotsu.
No, absolutely. And another thing, usually a tsundere uses like the harshness as like a mask or a defensive mechanism to keep from being embarrassed or like seeing that they're vulnerable. So the tsundere trope has appeal about watching somebody eventually grow into a maturity, like I said, with maybe they gain the confidence to let the dere come out more and let their guard down, which is of course endearing and cute, but does play on that aspect of character development. And like you were saying, it is easier to write because it's a standard trope, and we all know that hero arc and we all love it.
Yeah, well, I don't know about we all love it, but I agree with the rest of that.
I mean, I also see the appeal of the tsundere is not just that we're not all masochists on the inside. It kind of has more to do with the fact that we appreciate anything more if it took more effort to obtain.
No, I mean, I know where you're coming from, but it's like, my biggest thing is like, why bother? Especially in anime where there's better girls all the time. Why go with the one that hates you? Why not go with one that, you know, is a decent person? I
think it's also part of the thrill of the hunt thing. I mean, it's grass is always greener, so maybe you want what you can't have.
All right. I'm still pretty tsune about the whole concept, but with enough counterexamples and argumentation, you might make me more dairy on it.
So one of the most ultimate tsunderes is Toradora Taiga. Have you ever seen Toradora?
Sadly, no. And I say sadly only for the sake of the conversation. I probably wouldn't want to actually watch it.
The whole meme when that was going on, it's like it was the greatest love story ever told. It is really good.
Is it really? Yeah.
It is good. Yeah, it's really great. I've never watched the anime other than clips, but I did read the manga, and I think I read the light novel if there is one. If not, I didn't. But I was just in all the threads, and she's absolutely palm-sized tiger. I think that's what her name translates to, her nickname. But she's just a tiny little feisty little girl, and it's absolutely fantastic. I mean, she acts...
Is she the one that's on this dere chart that we have?
Yes, that's the tsundere on the tsundere chart.
Okay. Yeah, so I mean, I recognize her as a character.
She acts harsh and overreacts to all the teasing because she's short. It's actually it's a similar archetype to Edward in Full Metal Alchemist. It's that short thing where they both overreact to that. And so she puts up like a delinquent tough front that's like, don't mess with me attitude and things like that. Just because she's like super sensitive about being short and of course DFC, which just makes her a great character.
Of course, yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think some other famous tsunderes might be like Rin from Fate Stay Night. And of course, we've talked before about this show, Luis from Familiar of Zero.
It's true that. Misty was the only one I could think of in all of anime. Oh, wait, no, I just thought of another. Makise Kurisu. Christina.
See, I can't do it, but you've got the accent going on.
Yeah.
How about from this classic anime, Sarah from Ed, Edd n Eddy? Oh,
yep. Well, see, maybe that's why I always hated Tsunderes, because I hated Sarah.
Yeah, well, she wasn't even... No, I think the only episode where she was tsundere was in like the episode with Valentine's Day, and like she got a love potion or something.
She's soon. Like, that's it.
Yeah, she was just a annoying little sister. There wasn't any dere there.
True.
Hey Arnold's Helga.
Very true. Yep. I never liked her either.
As an adult, I appreciate... So this was an awesome thing.
As an adult, I can appreciate the finer qualities of children's cartoons.
Exactly. And think of it this way.
I mock... and we're on episode 30 of a cartoon podcast.
I saw some post the other day that was saying Helga's basically the main character of Hey Arnold. Most of the time, she's in the episode more than anybody else, and we hear her internal thoughts more than anybody else. I don't even think we hear Arnold's internal thoughts. We only hear Helga's, and she has the most character development and things like that. Anyway, that's another thing. And then one more joke about cartoons being animes. It's hard to believe the grim adventures of Billy and Mandy. Mandy is like the epitome of tsundere.
You might even call her the epitome.
Ooh, savage. That's a meme, you guys. Passengers can make that a meme.
Of course it's a meme. Yep. Just like the futuristic sport of hyperbole.
There's the Valentine's Day episode. I just watched Billy and Mandy a couple of years ago again, so I remember this, where she's trying to break out of her... I think she gets Cupid stuck, and she's trying to break out of her dere mode. And there's also a moment when Mandy finds out that Billy is in love with like a seemingly normal girl, and she gets shocked from it, and she has a slightly saddened expression. Then she has like a total verbal beatdown of how desperate the girl is. And if it were anyone other than Mandy, one would call her jealous at that point.
Wow. See, I never shipped them as a child.
See, I didn't either. And there's also the thing where, is she doing it because she doesn't like Billy, but he's her beta orbiter, or she's, you know.
Right. Yeah, it could be.
There's a whole thing with that. So, well, I'll leave the children's cartoons. We need the superior medium of the Japanese highly intellectual anime.
Also children's cartoons.
So how about in Bleach? We've got Ichigo, who's actually like cold and tough, but deep down he's caring and protective of his loved ones. I'm reading this from a thing, and I'm reading it to tell you that I don't believe that dudes are tsundere. I don't think it applies. I mean, technically it does.
They can be.
Yeah, but
With all of the deres, like, guys can be, but it's like, it's pretty much, in terms of the tropes, you only apply them to girls, I think.
it makes sense, and we're all for respecting women's and equality here, but I don't think it even applies. Maybe it's just because I'm not interested in that.
Could be. Yeah, I bet if we were to watch, like, you know, Fujo bait shows, then, you know, they would all manifest all of these different characteristics.
What did I misspeak today? It was like Hentalilia or whatever that is.
That's exactly what it was, yeah. Hetalia.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like Fujoshu bait. That's super hardcore. I never got into that, and I'm just glad. And Oron Host Club is kind of gay.
I like the idea, you know, I like the idea of having countries represented by characters. There's like some kind of autistic pleasure to it, like completing a set or something, or like...
What's the better country thing is the balls. Is like USA ball, Poland ball. Yeah, all the balls are way better. Like the comics are better too.
There's a webcomic with...
I've seen that too, yeah.
Nordic countries. But that one does get kind of like...
Gay.
Girly and like... Yeah, like literal gay, like Fujo kind of stuff, yeah.
I mean, it's got some awesome, like, funny things. Now that I'm super woke, I'd probably go back and be like, hey, the history here that's not really real. But...
Please, like, you know any history.
I'm woke enough on something to do that, but...
Yeah, okay.
But from Bleach anyway, Rukia is definitely a tsundere.
Oh, yeah.
Rough,
definitely.
violent. But what was always crazy about that, and it kind of goes into hyperbole, anytime she sees something really cute, she freaks out about that, like the hearts in the eyes and things like that. And she's super nice to everybody but Ichigo. You know, she loves Ichigo's sisters and things like that, and she's caring to all of her friends. But I shipped Rukia and Ichigo, and I was pretty upset when, not that I had cared by the time it ended, like a year or two ago, but...
That she didn't win? She wasn't the winner?
No, Milk Truck won.
Oh,
and I hated her. She's such a boring...
Every time I hear Milk Truck, man, I just think of that Indian song.
I see the cover where his eyes are glowing. That's they had it wrong. India's not a superpower. He's the superpower 2020.
The one guy?
Yeah, he's got the laser eyes.
Yeah, I didn't know that she won. That's a bummer. And if I did know, then I blocked it out by memory.
I don't think I even finished reading it. I think I'm on the last arc, but I'll have to go back and do that sometime. Here's one of my favorite, which is Index and Railgun. Misaka, Sparky, awesome. I mean, I've talked about her in previous things where I've never watched the anime. I've never read the light novel either, but I've watched hours and hours of just the cute moments and things like that from the rom-com parts of the anime. So that's...
Yep. And it's still pathetic to hear.
This is my confessional. How about, since we're the #1 Digimon podcast, how about Rika from that...
Oh, yeah, season 3. Yeah, true. Even Sora to a little bit, but probably not. But yeah, definitely Rika.
So there's also the concept, like we talked about the hyperbole, but there's also the concept of deconstruction, where it's kind of like a meta look. And that kind of goes back to where we were talking about with Horror High. Basically, she's a classic tsundere, but it's also a deconstruction. What would happen if a tsundere acted the way towards everyone they knew instead of just the love interest? That's kind of how it's like with Horror High. She bullies the other milk truck and bullies Ray.
I feel like tsunderes, though, don't necessarily only act that way towards like the target guy. I feel like a lot of them are like that to everybody.
I think that's probably a different dere then. I think tsundere is supposed to be...
No, I mean, go back to my classic example of Misty. She's kind of rude to a lot of people.
She's not rude. No. When is she rude to anybody that's not Ash?
Probably Brock, right?
I don't think I thought she was nice to Brock.
Yeah, I don't remember. Maybe I'm making
I don't know.
up.
It's been too long. How about a really far back to Lucky Star? It's Kagami. Konata even designates her as one, complete with the explanation that it's appropriate for twin tails to be the tsundere.
So even back then, it was an established trope.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Here's a great anime. We're going through a list of awesome animes with tsunderes. Kei's no Stigma. I doubt you've ever read this or watched it.
No, but I assume it's Kaze, but that's all I know about it.
Yep, probably. The reason I love this anime so much is because the MC is a badass.
No, in an anime? No, dude.
Yes, it's fantastic, and he's Alpha Chad. He's Alpha Chad. He bullies the girl into him liking her. So,
I think I know what you mean.
I think they knew each other as kids, and then he goes away to train to be like Avatar, the Windbender, and he comes back, and she's a fire mage, and he just totally dabs all over her. Like, it's completely, he destroys her. He's like a level 99 mage, and she's like, although she's good for her crew, he's like way better. He just like, he uses wind magic to flip her skirt and to like bully her, and she's like his subordinate at this point. But she's totally into it. She likes the alpha male, and
where does the stigma
she's
come
tsundere the whole time. I don't know. I think maybe it translates to like stigmata or something like that.
I don't know what that word means. Doesn't that mean stigma?
Well, no, that's the mark of Jesus's hands. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, what?
I'm not sure, because it has like some meta philosophical things going on, and I'm not sure where it comes from, but it's a great anime. I think it's like 2-3 seasons.
Right.
If you're ever interested in like a classic tsundere old school shonen where they actually get together in the end and there's like progress and cool fights, yeah, it was pretty great. What's so refreshing about that is that he's a cool alpha Chad.
Yeah, just like me.
Speaking of somebody who went from beta male to cool alpha Chad, Negima, which is famous for probably having the most girls out of any like manga.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The main girl, which is arguably probably top 5, Asuna, classic tsundere.
Nice. I have nothing to add to that. I've never seen it. The only thing I know is that one of my friends had a poster of it growing up. But
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know anything else about it. I think he was a teacher, right?
Yeah, he was like a little kid teacher. He was like a Shota. So let's end the little tsundere part with the meta. It's Kugiyama. Is that how you pronounce her name?
Probably Ray. Maybe is that the one?
Oh,
from...
Ray.
Wait, who is that?
It's Ray Kugiyama. Ray Kugiyama. I can't pronounce her names.
Who is it?
But she's the go-to voice actress for all the extremely violent, flat-chested, harsh tsunderes.
Oh, okay.
She's got Shauna, Louise, Nagi, Taiga. Anyway, together, Shauna, Louise, Nagi, and Taiga are I've heard them referred to as the 4 tsundere wonders.
Wonders.
Yeah, but it's funny, they're all voiced by the same thing, and like you'll almost know what character. She's been typecast really well into stuff, so you know when her voice pops up what you can expect, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, they even have like their own fan communities, which is just weird to me. Like, people will watch a show just because it has their one favorite seiyuu.
Well, I mean, that's a very Japanese thing to do. I'll watch
well, it's a weeaboo thing too.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's a very Japanese thing, so the weeaboos want to turn Japanese.
Point.
But it's like, I would never, like, I know the voice actor for Spike in the translation of Cowboy Bebop does other things too, but...
What's his name, like Jeff Bloom or something?
It might be, yeah. But I would never watch something just because he's the voice actor of it. I'll recognize it and be like, hey, that's cool, but I wouldn't do that. Now, if I do have an actor that I like, I'll watch something else that they do.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, when you put it in terms of like real life actors, that somehow seems more reasonable to me. So I guess I can see the connection. Well, it's not like I want to spend the whole podcast talking about tsundere, but let's get through some of these others, and they might have to be pseudo lightning rounds since we've burnt up so much time on arguably one of the worst. But here's one that's even worse than the worst: yandere. That's the one where they're like psychopaths and they want to kill everybody, but like the MC that they crush on.
How would you even be in a relationship if your girlfriend wouldn't kill everybody but you? I don't even understand. Like, yandere is high tier. It's high tier, man. Haven't you seen Cell Phone Diary or whatever the other one was?
That's the only one I know, yeah. You know, right? I think it was her name. From Future Diary.
Exactly. And
yeah,
in fact, it's such a popular trope that there's a yandere simulator. It's a dating sim where all the girls are yandere.
Yeah, but the only thing I know about that is that the dude is named Yandere Dev, and like people don't like him or something.
Yeah, I think he's like flaky, and yeah, I'm not really sure about that. But it shows the market demand. Yeah, but it shows though. Yeah,
I don't know. It's not for me because it goes back to the whole like the girl is too powerful thing. Yeah,
well, it's like the girl wears the pants.
I think that's just what it it always goes back to that for me. You know, I guess I'm a traditional kind of guy, but yeah, and also she's crazy, like actually insane.
Yeah,
I think that's a couple points negative.
And it would be dangerous, and eventually she is going to go to jail, and that would be probably the least of your problems if she doesn't kill you first. Because
imagine like taking her to like, you know, a family Christmas event or something. Like she would kill your whole family.
The appeal of the yandere is that the girl likes you more than you like her. That's the appeal, and she'll never leave you.
More than she likes anything. Like yeah.
Yeah. But that's the thing, is like she'll never leave you, and she'll do anything for you. And that's what the appeal is about it. That's exactly the appeal. It's a wish fulfillment type deal.
Well, with all of these, since they're anime girls, I think they implicitly have that attribute. But you're right that it's more explicit with yanderes. But yeah, and in terms of the examples, yeah, I only know Yuna, which I think is her name, but I'm not completely sure.
There's a bunch more in less popular mangas and animes and things like that.
I don't think it can be done well. I think tsundere can be done to an acceptable level, but yandere, I will outright reject completely.
Now, there is a type where maybe it starts kind of the opposite. It's mayadere. We'll go out a little bit of order from this list, but she'll try and attack the MC. Maybe she's the bad guy, and they'll go into a big fight. Eventually, maybe the MC defeats her and wins her heart over because maybe she just lusts for power or something like that.
Sure.
I like that trope. What do you think about that?
I don't know of any examples, but conceptually, I could see it. Like if it's like a demon queen or something, I could see me liking that trope to a degree. I like it in the sense like you defeated her, now she's yours. That really hits a primal grug. Yeah, yeah, that's what. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna hit her over the head and drag her back to the cave. That's yeah, that's it. So here's an example of a more contemporary one. What's the psycho girl in Boku no Hero Academy? Oh, the blood one. Yeah, because she likes what's his face, Midoriya. Yeah, Boku himself. Yeah, Deku, as I call him. I came up with that on my own. Deku, cool. That's my nickname for him. Yeah. But yeah, I like her. She's a pretty good character. It also helps that she's decently cute. She's kind of yandere too, you know? Yeah, it is, because she keeps trying to kill, or at least torture him. And because she's insane. I feel like that's just a crucial part. I mean, I guess any of these could be insane. Yeah, well, all women are insane. Like, it's just varying degrees. I see. The number one respecting women podcast. Don't alienate our possibly single-digit female listenership. Maybe one. Oh, we love our passengers. We have the best passengers. But yeah, I think Maya Dairy could be cool. I just haven't seen it enough. And I was gonna say I tried to look up what Maya Dairy meant, and nobody knows. So
I think it's probably based off of like one of the original characters that came up with the trope, like Maya or something, but I don't know what it is, and I looked all over as well. I can't. If anybody knows, please write in the comments. Like, ask Jeeves and then let us know where it comes from.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody knows, though. That's the big mystery of it. You would have to go spelunking through like old anime characters for anyone named Maya.
Like 2channel or something.
Let's do Tsundere next. Because it's such a boring one, man. I'm falling asleep just thinking about it.
So basically, it's they act cool, unemotional, but then shows their sweet side over time. So that's basically just like somebody who's like neutral, and then you kind of like win them over. Yeah, it's pretty boring. I think
not just neutral, but just like no personality, like dead eyes. Just that's it. Just the lifeless stare.
I think this character is from Soul Beats. That's in this picture.
I have no idea. I've never heard of Soul Beats.
Yeah, it was actually a pretty good anime. It's basically like the movie Ubik, or the book Ubik from
what?
Yeah, from Philip K. Dick, where they're all dead in purgatory.
No, I've never heard of that.
Like their school is the purgatory afterlife, and they're all school kids, and then eventually one by one they die or ascend or something like that. It was kind of like the.
Oh, it's a killing game.
Well, exactly, but they're not killing each other. They're like on a team fighting.
Oh, okay.
It's basically, it's weird, yeah. It also has a bit of Code Lyoko where like mobs come in and they have to fight video game mobs. Yeah, it's really weird. You might have to rewatch it.
That sounds kind of cool.
But anyway, that blue-haired character, I'm pretty sure, is that. Yeah, it's not my favorite trope.
And I'm sure she's worst girl.
I can't even remember.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, Tsundere is just so boring. Like, there's nothing to the characters. Like, almost by design. I hate them.
Kind of translates into the dere, or dandere, which is just quiet, silent.
It's like the same thing.
Yeah, and then it eventually revealing that they're just actually shy. And it's like, okay, well, what's the difference?
That's so stupid, yeah. It's like quiet and silent. That is basically shy. Like, come on.
And I don't know who this example is either that they're showing.
Oh, I have no idea. Yeah, it's a girl from anime.
Yeah, anime girl. Parentheses male.
It could be kind of flat chested. We'll have to post this picture in the show notes for anyone who wants to follow along.
Yeah, I'm gonna have it up on the. If you're watching on YouTube, you should be looking at it right now. Nice. You can follow along with us. So then you know what's going on next. It's Dere,
aka the best one. I kind of like this because like the dere, they're all dere, which implies like some bit of like softness or like the sweet side. But dere is like, you got an ice cream, right? It's pretty good. But what if you put like sprinkles on it and like hot fudge and like cherries on top? You just double up, dude, and that's it.
Dude, you know what the best thing is on ice cream is like nuts and like hot fudge. Like the hot fudge is like so good. That's the best part.
Yeah, hot fudge is good. Yeah, I like Jimmy's though, mostly because I like to call them Jimmy's.
And Russell my Jimmy's
sprinkles. Yeah. Man, ice cream is good. I want some ice cream.
Yeah, me too. Let's go to McDonald's and get a sundae.
I want some green tea ice
cream.
Or
a McFlurry.
I had some of that the other day.
It's pretty good. Have you had the red bean paste ice cream?
I have, yeah. I don't like it when they actually have beans in it.
Yeah, I'm kind of indifferent to that. I think that makes it more fancy.
Yeah, it does, but I don't want to chew on a frozen bean.
Is that a metaphor for the cold and distant tsundere?
No, I don't know. No, I thought we long left the realm of anime. I thought we were just ice cream posting. But yeah, I mean, I don't have actually much to say about Dere. They're the best because they're sweet, and you know who doesn't like a sweet girl?
That's true. Most people do. In real life, they're the best. But in anime, I kind of want something. I want to have my wish fulfillment. I want something. I want a twist on it.
Like I guess they're kind of boring from an anime perspective. Well, I guess in the sense that all of these are two notes, being that they have something and dere, then the dere is just a one note character.
Now, what's the mix of yandere and dere? Because there's one
Yandere.
Yeah. It's like the Duran.
Or Yan triple dere.
Yeah.
Y3D is that called?
D3.
D4C, dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Or as it's localized in the American dub of JoJo, filthy acts done at or performed at a reasonable price. I could do a whole episode just reading JoJo dub names. They're the best.
Going back, there's a manga where she's like obsessively dere, like meets this dude and like falls in love with him. It's not really yandere because she's not violent, but she's a psychopath in the sense like she meets up with the dude and she pours super glue on their hands while she's hand holding.
Oh no.
Or she'll steal his recorder and like just suck on it. It's like, I forget what it's called.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
It was a good manga. Because it's wish fulfillment. You're like, oh man, I would love a girl that's like so into me that she wants to, it's like so cute. Yeah. And she's a little tiny girl too. And so it's like,
yeah, I see where that comes from. Definitely.
Now in real life, it'd be like, nah, you psycho. Like she'll be popping holes in the balloons and things like that.
Yeah. In your Jimmy hats, as they call it. I call everything by a Jimmy variant.
What about Jimmy Dere?
You know, that's where scumbag actually refers to condoms.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's your trivia for the day.
Excellent.
You never thought when you turned on an episode about dere anime stuff, you never thought you would learn trivia like that.
Man, that is just a treat for all the passengers that have suffered through this long to get to this point.
Yep.
Let's do a lightning round and knock out the last couple ones on this chart, just because I have it up and people are gonna get blue balls if we don't finish it up. Kamidere.
True. Kami dere.
Exactly.
Yeah. Coming from the word paper, which is kami, and they're one-dimensional flat characters like a sheet of paper.
See, that joke only works if the passengers speak Japanese.
Well, I just said what it means though, so like you understood it. So
context clues.
You don't exactly, yeah.
So how about very similar to Tsundere, but with a god complex? May or may not be an actual god.
Yeah, that's stupid. I mean, I don't like this whole bottom row is very like granule variants of
very
like,
niche.
Yeah, exactly.
Like left-handed dere if you're a dere but you have a left hand.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, who's a kami dere? Who can you think of? Like,
I have seen it frequently enough that it could be a trope.
Yeah, and I think so too, but I think it's more just a tsundere who is also a god or thinks they are a god. Like, I don't think there's enough there to differentiate it. It's like blonde dere, you know? Like,
true. I think you could easily put it as a subcategory or a Venn diagram type thing with a lot of the things. Like even Horror High falls into that. There's a cool manga where this dude dies. I forget what it is, but it's kind of like Konosuba in the sense where he either gets a last wish or something like that. And he's like, oh, I wish you would be my wife, talking to the god who's a girl. Yeah.
Got him, dude. That's how to do it.
and she blushes and all that type of stuff, and then that's a fun little manga. I forget what it's called. If we get any comments asking about it, then I'll reply in your thing. But otherwise, I'm not going to do the work.
Talking about actual Konosuba, because we have to. It's like obligatory. We have to mention it at least once. Is Aqua a kami dere? Because she's kind of like that. Like she's got the god complex because she is a literal goddess, but she's also incompetent. I don't know if that.
Ponketsu dere.
Yeah, I guess in a way.
Ponk dere. Yeah. But no, yeah, absolutely. I think she falls into that category.
All right.
Any god character with slight romantic anythings, I think, can fall into kumedere because it's not like their overall archetype. For hers, it's definitely Ponketsu, but it's a subtype that she has. She can go into that flavor. Absolutely, yeah. And I'll tell you, I've really come to appreciate Aqua recently.
Yeah, I know you say that, but you're still wrong. You can say it as many times as you want, but you'll always be wrong.
Megumin is like, I'm editing that out. I don't know. It's Megumin is like the perfect waifu that it almost becomes boring in the show. Like we're like, yeah, obviously she's the best. So who's second best?
No, that's a mind virus that you have. No, you're wrong. No, you're infected in the brain.
Maybe Aqua's rubbing off on me. I'm becoming an idiot.
That's the brain of a cheater talking. You know, you gotta pick a waifu and stick with her. Yep.
No. That's no. Because the waifus, in my sense, are the Platonic forms of perfection. They represent an ideal. They don't represent a person. Until they make anime girls real, until Elon Musk invents cat girls.
Was that a real tweet you sent me? The picture of maybe you could throw it on the screen if you want to be high effort. But the one with his fursuit, his fursona.
Yeah, clearly that's not a real tweet.
I don't know. He's done so many weird ones like that.
He has talked about cat girls, unironically. So
he sent a picture of a cat girl and said, like, this is me. So I wouldn't surprise me.
This is my anime sona.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he actually tweeted a fursona as a joke.
And then I don't know if you saw there was a reply to that tweet in the picture that's like, whoops, wrong picture.
Yeah. Yeah, classic. All right, so the next one here in the list is, come on, like, this is so stupid, so redundant. Yeah, Hime meaning princess, so you already know what it means. Like, it's the same one as Kamidare, but she's a princess instead of a god. It's the same as Tsundere, but she's a princess, or thinks she is one.
It's a very common trope, but I don't think it's different. You could have just said princess trope. Is it just a princess that likes the MC and is slightly tsundere? That's just a tsundere princess.
Yeah, and it's like Ojo-sama as well. Like, why isn't that on this list? It's just as, like, similar.
Ojo-sama dere.
Yeah. You could probably say Ojo-dere.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, we need to make our own list, but I mean, it's a very common
maybe we should
trope.
have.
Yeah, maybe we should have. Maybe we should have done some high effort work.
Nonsense. But yeah, I mean, it's a stupid trope.
The first one that comes to mind is whoever the princess was in Zero's Familiar. Who was...
She's the one who won, right? You said?
No, not in that one.
Oh, okay.
Louise won in that one. They got married.
Whoa.
They got married in the anime. It was one of the coolest scenes. It's like they're stranded out in the middle of enemy territory and they're stuck in a church or whatever. And
well, we might as well get married. We have nothing else to do here.
Well, yeah, I think he mans up and proposes to her, and they get married, and it ups their power. And then they go fight all the bad guys. And I think he dies in that battle, but then is like resurrected at the end of the season or something. I forget how it goes. Or it's like he was supposed to die when she got away, but he at the end he like comes staggering back into the thing. That was great. I think that was the season finale of season 1 or 2. I'm not really sure. Great show. Go watch it.
I've got other stuff to watch, like watch Mojo's top 10 Tsundere. That's what we should have watched. Alright, so this next one on the list, for those of you who have the visual aid in front of you, it's Tsundere, but spelled C-O-O instead of K-U-U. It's the same thing. I say we skip it. It's garbage.
Yeah, it's basically the same as Tsundere. You know,
it's so boring that they had to do it twice. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
So the technical thing here is acts very indifferent. Sometimes she will be nice. Other times she will act cold. Like, that's yeah. It doesn't even make sense.
It's so stupid. It makes me angry. I'm angry now. Where's angry Dere?
Angry reacts only.
Alright, so I think the final one here, to round it up, this is one that I swear this guy made for this picture. I've never heard of this anywhere ever, and I've never even encountered this kind of character. Tsundere.
Tsundere. The number one Uno.
I assume comes from the word un, which is like yeah or yes. It's just like an affirmative sound.
So acts very nice and is very agreeable. Answers people with yes, yep, yeah, etc. Like usually likes the MC from the beginning. Now, this is a trope. I know what he's talking about. I've never heard it with the dere and phrased like this, but it's like aims to please, is outgoing, mostly known from the start that, you know, she's into the MC. Just a good girl, all around good girl, like the equivalent of a good dog. She's a good girl. Like you give her the head pats and she seems like a solid character. In real life, this would be an incredibly great trope. Unts.
You get it, dude. I'm being a funny guy. I'm saying I got him.
Yeah, I get it. That's super great.
It makes for great radio. Tsundere is the number one podcasting dairy trope. Actually, studying Korean with some friends, not by choice. Don't worry, passengers. Don't get the wrong idea here. We were listening to it like a podcast lesson type thing called "Talk to Me in Korean." One of the girls on there was Korean, and she would always say like, "Yeah, right," like. As in, like, to confirm, not like sarcastically, yeah, right, but like, yeah, right. And she would say it like, yeah, right. And it was like the funniest thing. So I guess in a way she was tsundere. The end.
Cool story, bro.
Oh, you're supposed to say, Yep.
Hold on, maybe I'll edit that in.
Got him. Perfect.
So we'll finish up with the lightning round of just
Whoa. What else is there?
How about what's your favorite of the deres so far? If you get to pick one.
Every time, all the time.
Dere.
I like sweet girls. Put that
Can
on my
you think
tombstone.
of,
He liked sweet girls.
And that's what killed him. He died how he loved.
Well, I don't know about that.
Can you think of the equivalent waifu in that category?
No, I don't know of any. That's why I like it, because I can't think of an anime character.
Because if you knew one of them, you'd hate them, because
Exactly.
all anime characters are awful. Yeah.
You got the joke.
I'm surprised the person who made this list didn't make like a magic dere.
That's not a thing, dude. Magic dare.
Well, half these aren't things. This kudere is not a thing.
Well, the second one isn't, but the first one is.
Himedere and kamedere are just basically like another, you could say, magic dere. It's basically the same.
Yeah, I guess so.
I guess Megumin would be tsundere.
No, she's Chuni. Well, she's got some tsundere too.
Yeah, I think so. And then she does turn. She flips from mostly tsundere to mostly dere.
Right. I haven't made it that far
in the light novels. Yeah. Hopefully season 3
So then
is
there you
coming
go.
out.
Then that's my favorite waifu then.
All right.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think
it always goes back to Megumin, dude. I think we have a problem.
Yeah. Oh, we have lots of problems.
Oh yeah. Shoot, you're right.
But that's pretty up there. I like the tsundere. I like the classic tsundere.
Of course you do.
Not necessarily in real life. Because I would like insert as the MC and be like, yeah, tease her back. She wants to be teased back. Girls love it when you tease them.
Yeah, well, that's why something like Chuni's the best. It's not on this list, but like it is the best.
It's delicate with tuning to tease them too much because they could take it.
Nah.
It has to be known that it's lighthearted and you still approve of their tuningness without.
That's not that hard to do, I think. I don't think that's that challenging.
We both spend time watching anime, so I'm sure we don't have the skills and the faculties required to delicately do any social interaction.
And therein lies half the appeal with Chunis, because like they don't have social skills either, so they don't know that you don't have social skills.
Interesting. Well, then you just have to get your Dark Flame Master. You have to talk to him like, I summon thee to take the trash out.
I've decided
to make me a sandwich.
This is neither here nor there, but I've decided that if my character dies in D&D that I play with my friends, I'm gonna reroll as a Chuni character.
Excellent. That's great.
He's gonna talk about like all his dark flame magic and stuff, but he won't have any actual magic.
If you do that, you have to unironically go read the next volume of Konosuba that you missed, because when they go to the village, it's exactly like that. It's exactly that.
Okay, fine, I'll do it. But they have magic at least.
Yeah, but you'll have magic in D&D.
No, my guy won't be a magic guy.
Okay, that's pretty funny.
But he'll pretend that he can.
What class in he is?
Oh no, dude, I don't know, but I just thought of it. He'll have like really high like charisma and like persuasion and stuff.
Oh, like the bear.
Like the bear. Sir Barrington. Well, now that we're talking about D&D, I think we've run our course on the Tsunderes.
Exactly. So like we saw all the different Tsunderes this episode. Next episode, we're going to talk about all the different steps. We've got dubstep, wubstep, hardstep.
Yeah. I don't know any of those steps. I know vaporwave. I know I don't know. I think one episode on Japanese music could be cool though. Talk about like J-pop, city pop.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
What's the like future funk? Enka. Like the old school like traditional stuff.
How about like the harpsichord?
There's a I think he's Hapa, I don't know. Or Hafu as they are in Japanese. Or no, I think his grandmother is Japanese. It's some like black dude named
Elliot
Jetto.
Roger.
No, he wasn't at all black. But he's like an Enka star in Japan. And I learned about him from my Japanese teacher, who he kind of bragged. He's like, "Oh, I own one of this guy's CDs," and he like played some of the music in class one day.
It's like, wow, I too also own CDs.
Yeah. He just seemed so happy and like proud about that. I was like, okay.
Actually, I think I'm too young. I don't think I ever owned a CD.
Yeah,
I certainly never bought one.
Now that's what I call music. Now that's what I call a lie.
Now that's what I call tvtropes.com for Tsunderes. Now, if you're looking for more Tsundere content, you can find us at YouTube / actually, we don't have a custom URL. You need 100,000 subs for that. So you could search the Flight Plan podcast, or you can search for maybe Scanlation podcast. I bet we pop up for that. You can also just search
for Primitive Technology. That's our baby project channel that we're doing on the side.
It's small. It's not very popular, so we're growing that. Someday it might be this popular. Yeah.
Not enough anime. Yeah, hopefully.
You can find our RSS feed at anchor.fm/theflightplan with a dash in between all those. You can find our Twitter at
A Big Guy 4U Scans. That's numeral 4, letter U.
You can also find us on MangaDex, where you can leave comments and make sure to read all of the mangas that are coming out.
Give them the thumbs up, even though I don't think you can thumbs them up.
Yep, and a bunch of links in the description.
Have a nice day.
Have a nice crash.
Bye.